Ever heard of Brett Straub? Probably not, because he's no one of any particular importance. But back in around 2011, he did have 15 minutes of fame when he hit the UK newspaper headlines through an unscheduled appearance in a Wikipedia article. So let me explain. Back in 2011, a UK High Court judge called Lord Justice Leveson was in the midst of writing the Leveson Report. It was an important report back at the time, which you may have heard of, and it was researching the ethics of press reporting, and in particular, the inaccuracy of the information found in newspaper articles and the methods of obtaining that information in the first place, which were considered by some to be quite unscrupulous. He needed to find out who the founder members of the independent newspaper were, so he did what most of us would do. He looked them up online. And he came up with the names Andreas Whittam-Smith, Stephen Glover, and Brett Straub. First two names were correct, but Brett Straub, nobody had heard of him, so people started asking who he was. And it transpired that, in fact, Brett Straub was a US college student. And his friends had actually inserted his name as a prank into the Wikipedia article about the Independent that Lord Justice Leveson had consulted, along with several other Wikipedia articles where they'd also inserted his name. So Mr. Straub himself said, "I graduated from college 8 months ago, and the biggest thing we learned is don't trust Wikipedia for facts." The fact that someone, especially a judge, has believed something on Wikipedia is kind of shocking. Well, yes, and it was very embarrassing for Lord Justice Leveson at the time. We always say that you need to be careful of Wikipedia, and it's true that you do have to. People can edit the pages and they can use it to commit pranks such as this one, or they just make mistakes because they don't know enough about the topic. It's a good idea to always verify any information that you find online with some other sources to check that they're all saying the same thing and the information is correct. But is Wikipedia really the terrible resource that we're always told that it is? If you go and have a look in our tools to help with critical evaluation section in this LibGuide, there it talks about the core curriculum, which is Civic Online Reasoning, which is a tool set up by Stanford University in the US. And that looks at a different way of evaluating information online. There's also a video that talks about how to use Wikipedia wisely, and it tells you how it can be used as a tool, providing that you know how it works. So I suggest that you go and have a look at that video, and also the core curriculum suite of videos that is also linked from that section.